And you kind of want to know where this water is coming from, right? I mean, when I'm going to be talking about the water Neptune, it's not like I've been there, but my mind has. And on a psychedelic trip, one day was on Neptune. And what did we see over there? Like water. You know, if you could really coexist over there, if you were strong enough, if your body was, Neptunian, like the bells of Neptune. How cool would that be? And unfortunately, in our lifetimes, we kind of have to live life like one-dimensional. Like you can't step out of the shoes that you were born in. It's almost like the Hindu caste system where you're born into your caste and you have no other opportunity to escape from there. And this kind of possibility, like being on Neptune, might not be there for everybody, except the psychedelic people and all the rational scientists calculating the speed of light, the time it will take to get there, the time that require all the supplies and men and engineering, and they're not thinking right, they're not really focused on what's really important, that's what I kind of feel. And not really with the program. There's no urgency. I mean, there's one kind of urgency, but you have to have a bit of an artistic urgency. Who is going to give that artistic urgency? Is that going to be you? Is that going to be me? As Terence McKenna said, where are the artists and what are they doing? All those failed poets. I mean, I know we don't really have any more poets. They're kind of dead. It's not a tradition anymore. But it's kind of cool to have a poet writing about Neptune and the possibilities that could fire up the scientists. Because, the scientists, just like you and me. We need them. They need us. They need the artists as much as we need the scientists. For us to have this modern technology to me to be making this recording. It's all based on wave physics, and it wouldn't have been really possible a few years ago that I'd be doing all this at home, in my home studio. It would have been unthinkable to have all the effects and synthesizers and, what have you not in a modern studio, all available at my fingertips. And I'm very grateful. As a person, I'm very pro-science. I'm not at all against the scientific achievement of mankind and where we've reached. I don't diss Germans, for just their clumsy humor. I really appreciate from the bottom of my heart all what they've done for humanity. All the rocket engines and diesel engines and gasoline engines, everything today, Siemens engines. So trying to be honest, while being a psychedelic proponent, I would still kind of argue that we can't do without normal science. We can't do without normal expectations of governments and countries and continents and all the geostrategies involved in there. We are a human species divided into subspecies, and like the tiger, we're kind of territorial. We have our own problems and we have our own issues that we consider national security. I mean, once you start taking psychedelics, the whole concept of national security kind of withers away, but not for a majority of the people. And as we'll see, a lot of the scientific strides made by humanity were because of national security, like the internet, rockets and jets. So I'm also going to try to be a realist. I'm not just going to try to take one partisan side. It's very easy to become partisan and take one side and diss the other side. But I still want to be a realist and somehow align both the sides together for the ultimate human progress. And I think even Terence McKenna was trying to get the artists in line with the scientists, so we could have a common vision, where we could go together somewhere where it's a brighter future and it's our destiny. I mean, we see UFOs, we try to see UFOs, we want to see UFOs, and spend millions of dollars in programming about UFOs and talking about UFOs, but maybe that's what we really want to become. That's the kind of technology that we would like to be flying. We're getting tired of flying. We're getting tired of driving our cars, our automobiles, and they're not going anywhere. They're polluting this earth, and we want cleaner technologies, and just not weak, cleaner technologies, but something stronger. We want something really strong that can string up the human race in space and give us unlimited clean power, something like fusion reactors, and something to get the human race all excited about, I mean, we could all be on Neptune and chilling to these tunes. There's nothing really stopping us except our own self-imposed limitations of progress that, as Terence McKenna again said, linear. I'm getting tired of linearity of life, history, and the way things are just moving forward in a linear fashion, and we're just so slow. It's very boring, and it was very inspiring suddenly for me to hear Terence McKenna, and I know I'm really paraphrasing him quite a few times, but I'm not taking any power from a great man. He is the prophet, and I'm just trying to draw my own conclusions and also envision a brighter future where we could be, on different planets, and not just our own solar system, but galaxies, many galaxies away, many light years, maybe even another universe, and we could be having coffee over there. I mean, it wouldn't be a bad gig, right? You're just having coffee somewhere on another planet. How cool is that? Listening to the sounds of an alien waterfall, alien forest, or alien birds chirping away. I mean, this is not our destiny to sit around on this planet and keep crying about all the things that we can't do, we can't ever do, and all the problems that we have with each other, all the species and interspecies conflicts on this planet, and trying to fight them, erase them, and we're in trouble, mostly because we're trying to suppress our own instincts. We are hunters. We are people who will take things from others when we need them. It's a fact. Whether you pay money for it or you take it because of strength and power, it's another thing. Well, you are taking services from another, and whether right or wrong, that's how you survive. Humans are looking to get good services. Humans will talk to each other, will try to intimidate each other, trying to obtain service. So the only way to get out of this is become a producer and not a consumer yourself. There's a limit in the kind of things you can produce. All the basic things, but the higher things, you're going to have to still depend on humanity and your own people. And all I can say is that we should shoot for something better than just coexisting or living in peace and harmony. we should be really aiming for something higher. We've got passion, we have arrogance, jealousy, envy, anger. We should use these emotions in our bodies to power us into the future. I mean, not long ago I thought that there was nothing that the human race could be enthusiastic about collectively. It's nothing. But as we see this earth is in trouble and many things come to mind and you know you want to do something about it, and guess what? There are millions of people out there also wanting to do exactly the same things that you want to do. Are you going to be able to do it? Maybe. Do you want to do it? Yes. I think that is the collective will. When you get together, the community, instead of talking about people and, you know, the local gossip, it'd be great if you could drop psychedelics and see different visions and then try to do something about it. Most of the people who do take psychedelics are some of the most intelligent people that you're ever going to meet. And these are the guys that the human race is depending on. You guys who are dropping psychedelics today are the new shamans of the human race. Whether you like it or not, you have a responsibility. You have been divinely chosen, or let's say, as Terence McKenna would say, the plants chose you. The guy in mind has chosen you. And what are you going to do about it is the next step. Are you going to do anything, or are you going to be a consumer for the rest of your life? We can juxtapose this eternal conflict between consumerism and production, and most humans are very uncomfortable at the thought of being consumers for the rest of their lives. What do you do about that? You can choose to be a producer, and to be a producer, you have to up the game. And there are many levels at it, and at the governmental level, they've got other responsibilities, but the most pressing one should be to get the hell off this rock. And there's not enough pressure. What are they doing? They're thinking about water, immigration, hostilities in Arab nations, small conflicts in the relative space of the universe that seem insignificant. Do you really think bombing a few goat herders is going to solve an intergalactic problem? Or is it going to solve a very local ego problem? That's another thing about ego. We get carried away by our egos. We think we're so important that we must demonstrate power. And demonstrating power entails physical destruction. How about demonstrating mental power, intellectual power, showing the other person? These are possibilities of a higher time when we reach a higher level where, unfortunately, Plato and Aristotle already showed us a few thousand years ago that there's a decent way to, talk to a guy without killing him, using logos, pathos, and ethos. I believe it was Plato who quoted that, or came up with that term of logic, emotion, and ethics. And this was the cornerstone of the Western civilization, and they've done a very good job. I think freedom of speech is unparalleled as any time before in our human race. I think as a species, we have more access to freedom and justice than ever before. So I don't think that we're living in the digital dark ages or the worst time ever. I think we're living in the best time of our lives, and as my guru, Terence McKenna, he also believed that we are it. This is the it species. What we do today is going to determine what happens to our species for the next 10,000 years, 100,000 years. I mean, I can't even imagine the future going anywhere on this planet if we just sit around and watch things spin out. Watching things spin out is like waiting for a volcano to erupt. Eventually it will erupt, and if you're not prepared, you're going to face the consequences. And so, I mean, I'd rather be on Neptune and acclimatized over there and watching the Neptunian sunset. You know, water or river gurgling through an alien city, rather than sitting around and what my granddad saw and his granddad saw. And, you know, doesn't make any sense to sit around and waste our lives for that. We're slightly more significant than that, especially the psychedelic people, having seen, done more than a lot of people in their whole lives who've never had access to psychedelics. I think we're very lucky people because this was a practice that was suppressed by all the major religions, you know, ever since this calendar system, this Gregorian calendar system started, you know, 1 AD. It was like hell on earth. I mean, Christianity came on, and Islam, and most of these religions just want to get you in order, persecute you if you step out of line. They're straight fascist religious systems, and it's taken us more than 2,000 years to get anywhere rid of them. And, I mean, there's still a lot of resistance among us to the Bible, but, you know, a lot of people understanding that this is actually not the Word of God. And there are other possibilities out there, and these are just a minor version of the truth. As Terence McKenna said, there is no truth. Paraphrasing him, they're all bullshitters. You know, each one of those prophets could be bullshitting. You're taking them on face value. And why are you doing that? It's because your parents told you. It's because your culture told you. Because they told you to go to heaven. And that's the carrot. And you got the stick. It's the classic carrot and stick thing. They got you. And you're afraid and you want reward, and they're just like my dog. We're all trained and programmed to be wanted, to be loved, to be caressed, to be accepted by the vast majority as good people. I mean, we've been chasing good people so far that they're not even here now. And I feel that the only good person is one who's free, who's truly free from the shackles of his culture, his religion, his people, his parents, his government. You know, those are the shackles that we put on ourselves. History is shackling. I mean, even today, we have a lot of people that are not allowed to question history. I mean, we have a lot of laws now in Europe that you know, you go to jail if you kind of question history. And I'm not saying that it's right or wrong, but I kind of feel it's kind of a shackle when you can go to jail for thinking about something in the wrong way. Be it right or wrong, it's still a shackle. And I want that gone. And so should any freedom-loving psychedelic person. The whole concept of freedom, I mean, if we can leave this planet, think about different universes, we can't even think about our own history. So, I see a dichotomy over there, and anything the governments promote and governments enact as laws, I always see bias, and I want to eliminate bias in our thinking, especially the psychedelic people. And this is one of the most liberating experiences I've ever had, is being able to question everything without getting hung for it, you know, or bad mouth for it. So it does require some kind of bravery. I mean, a lot of people are afraid before taking psychedelics of what they might see, where they're going. I mean, you're going to a completely different land. I mean, you've never been there before. You think you've been there, but it's always different, isn't it? Because there's so many dimensions within dimensions, and whenever you're ready for something, it'll come to you. It's a dimension that's waiting for you. And when you get there, what are you going to see? I mean, there are going to be no shackles, first of all. You're going to be free. If you choose to run this way, you're free to run. If you choose to go that way, you're free to go. It's liberating. One of the best things about psychedelics is the kind of freedom. Something like virtual reality is going to be in 20 years, where you can't tell if it's the real world or the virtual world. And psychedelic worlds have been real for thousands of years. The plants have already had their virtual reality awakening, and they want to share it with you. Plants are alive. Plants grow. Plants attract you with their colors, just like they do animals. But they're going to attract you. You're going to go to them. What's going to happen? You're going to try to taste one of them. Sure, a lot of us have died over thousands of years. You know, we ingested the wrong herb or the wrong shroom. We were dead. But over thousands of years, our elders, the wisdom, our books, started to classify all the plants. Some were poisonous, some were good, some were psychedelic. And the psychedelic plants were a great way to get out of here. I mean, you didn't really have a choice to get on a, some kind of a package tour, all expense paid trip to somewhere. But plants were giving it to you for free. For free, and it was there for you. Pick it, just take it. Nature and you were one. And I'm not saying that we should all go back to the natural world and live like that, but I'm saying that we should preserve enough of it so that we have the option to go back and take it whenever we want or need to. And that's an option. Psychedelics should be an option. Something that shouldn't be illegal, but an option for self-exploration. The psychedelic astronaut inside of you, new worlds that do exist. And as many thinkers have written and said that, are they as permanent as you are? You exist today. But are they just a manifestation of you and your desires? Or are they real? Are they always there? It's like those Enid Blyton books that I used to read as a kid. The faraway land, the never never land. There's always a new land coming on top of the tree, the faraway tree, but it's real. You just have to get there. You have to climb that tree. And psychedelic astronauts, people who are ready to do that, climb up that tree and sample those lands over there that are coming in. They're different lands. My particular favorite was the Never Never Land. There was never anything there, but it was the Never Never Land, and the kids had a great time with it. And that's another thing. When you're a kid, your mind is totally psychedelic, like an animal, like my dog. He's always wagging his tail and jumping around, and he sees the joy of life, and sees the psychedelic aspect of everything. If he sees my shoe, he wants to grab it and throw it. He's like, let's have fun with it. Let's play with it. What's the point of it existing if you can't play with it? And that's a wonderful perspective on life. When you really look at life, you realize that goddamn shoe that you have to wear every day to work can be an object of fun. It's just another way of looking at it. And dogs and kids, and they have a different perspective that changes your mundane life. Ordered and structured and regimented. You're in that prison. Kids and animals know, they sense it. When I was a kid, I knew my parents were in jail. My parents were in jail for the longest time ever. And unfortunately, the only way out is death. To liberate you from all those news channels, from all those behavioral patterns, the paternal authority, all these role-playing games that somehow society wants you to play to propagate the species. I mean, we've been so damn successful. This planet has 8 billion of us. I mean, it's another thing that the most intelligent are not reproducing, and it's the poorest that are reproducing. So that's another paradox. But overall, as a species, as taking the human race all together, it's been very successful at reproducing. It's almost like a virus, as you know, in the Matrix. The agent is like, I hate the human race. And I understand that, and we all understand that we have been consuming resources disproportionately and in an adverse way for the Earth. I mean, the Earth isn't thrilled with us humans over there, and every time there's an earthquake or, you know, volcano erupting and humans die, people think it's God is a terrorist and nature is just terrible, or, you know, can't be trusted. But it's just nature. It's just, you know, taking down the numbers. And I understand that. Nature has its own game. It's not only about you. It's about maintaining balance among the species. And you're just another mammal. And that's how nature really sees you. You're just another animal in the animal kingdom. Sure, you have higher faculties and you have access to knowledge, but it doesn't mean that your physical body doesn't obey the laws of nature. And nature wants to thin out your numbers at any given time. So you will find quite a few dying out in the middle. It's just life. And I'm not one for stopping this. I think it's just part of the natural recycling of carbon atoms. I mean, Terence McKenna is dead, but guess what? His carbon atoms are definitely still on this planet. He's definitely with us, and some of us might be in contact with his carbon atoms. So, what does that make us? Eternally recycled, and that's why when you look into the Hindu religion, it's all about recycling and reincarnation. Hint, hint. I just think people take things too literally, too seriously. People in all the religions, they start reading their stuff and start thinking literally that this is what happened, when it was just a metaphor, you know, to broaden your horizon. And Buddhism is no stranger to that. Even Buddhism tried to tell you what Buddhi is. Buddhi in Sanskrit means brain. You know, you're a brainy guy. You're a Buddhi guy. You like Buddhi. Sure, we all like Buddhi. But are you the real Buddha of the Buddhi? So, it's just when you awaken, you get the Buddhi. And most people don't get that. Most people will continue their lives calling themselves Buddhists. Like, adding the IST is going to actually change something, or make you into a particular denomination with special privileges and rights and pension. You know, maybe you get a very nice pension. And that's the whole point. That are we in all this for fancy dress competition, wearing different clothes, like culture, like, you know, different stuff. People say that Europeans don't have culture, or Americans are, you know, a 200-year-old country with no culture. I say if Americans, if you are telling me they don't have culture, then that's actually a very good thing. It means you're telling me they have no chains. And then I see all the Asian people in Asia, in Africa, espouse their culture, which is something like 5,000 years old, and they're very proud of it. They're very proud of their culture. But I tell them that those are your chains that you must get rid of. Those are the things that hold you back from progress, from thinking. Their cultures have solidified so much. I mean, psychedelics is far, far away from their culture. It's not part of it, though it used to be 5,000 years ago, but their culture evolved into this super efficient human reproduction, machine-like culture that became very successful at only reproduction. But as far as the mind awakening, that was considered superficial. It was always more about how big is your tribe, how powerful is your tribe, and how dominant will your tribe be in its dealings. So a very physical approach, but Greeks, they always wanted a mental approach, a mentalist approach, and that's what Plato and Aristotle were trying to do in their schools, and trying to open up debate and really question everything, and basic questions that we still haven't answered even today. And even the psychedelic people can never answer them because we're just tourists. Psychedelic people, and as I, on a trip, have seen, glimpsed worlds. I may have even touched them. I may have even become part of it a little bit, but I didn't necessarily understand them. I didn't understand how they generated and why in those particular patterns, and kind of similar patterns described by a lot of psychedelic people, that this is what it is. And you can relate to it because it's a special world out there, common for everybody. It's not because you're John and you created a world for John, which looks completely different from Terrence when he's tripping, and Terrence is seeing something completely different from John. It's not true. Both John and Terrence are seeing something very similar, which we can write later on in textbooks and medical textbooks as hallucinations and visual, and classify them as visual or auditory hallucinations, and understand them because they are reproducible for everybody, though being different, are seeing a similar world. So as I build into that, I'm more interested in focusing on this psychedelic world that is common for everybody. This is what they see. The plants are generating this world for us. And I think in the movie, James Cameron captures it beautifully. I forget the name of the movie. Certainly was in Atlantis. Oh, Avatar, yeah. Avatar, so Avatar, are you in the dream world, or are you in the real world? He tries to focus on to that very basic question, which is the real world, the technological, non-psychedelic world, or the non-technological psychedelic world. And there are really no answers, because I like both worlds. I would not like to be in either one simplistically. So on that note, that is one of my main trusts, is that I want this dichotomy to unite. The technological world and the psychedelic world should and must unite for the future of the human race, because that is the only way forward. So far, the technological world has been rejecting the psychedelic world, and the psychedelic world has been rejecting the technological world, but that's not the way to go. We wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the technological world, and we wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the psychedelic world. So to be honest, to be truthful, to be going forward in a positive direction, we must unite. We must unite. Thank you.